Good evening and thanks for joining us on Nationwide today on the network service of the NTA. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Now let's begin with the judiciary. The Supreme Court has affirmed Governors Samuel Ortom of Benue State and Amadou Fintere of Adamawa State as duly elected. Our judiciary correspondent Vera Chumba was at the Apex Court earlier in the day and now joins me in the studio to talk more on the Supreme Court rulings. It's nice to have you in the studio, Vera.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
All right, so tell us, on what premise was the judgment based?
For the Adamawa State election, the judgment was solely predicted on overvoting.
Okay.
The issue of overvoting came out very prominently. The Supreme Court was of the opinion that where the overvoting resulted in the election of Fintere, that counts substantially. But the overvoting could not be established. And then he said that they mentioned 385 voting units, polling units, where the overvoting supposed to have taken place.
Okay.
And then in about over 2,000 words. But when the Supreme Court looked at what the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court could not look at before they gave the judgments, the Supreme Court also looked at the issue of voting in line with the issue of overvoting in line with the Electoral Act and found that the allegations of overvoting could not be proved, given the fact that the figures he gave when they tried to look at the figures, the way he came out, he said even if the figures were to have been counted or made, but the due process must be followed, which they did not follow. And then the court also mentioned the relevant aspects of the Electoral Act, which, given the allegation of voting, should have gone through. And then going through that, the court said no, that the issue of overvoting, which was strongly canvassed, could not be established. So in line with the decisions of the tribunal and the Court of Appeal. So the Supreme Court upheld that election.
All right, so after the judgments, I'm sure there will be reactions. So what were the reactions of the appellants?
The appellants were jubilant as usual.
Okay.
If you're talking about the reactions, the issue has been heavily adumbrated in the court. They have made submissions here and there to come to the conclusion. When you win, ordinarily when you win anything, especially election, everywhere was jubilant for those litigants who came in support of their parties.
All right, so now, what does this portend for our democracy and governance? This is justice's play.
The saying that the judiciary remains the last hope of the common man also came to the fore, because issues like this have gone through the various stages of the court. It's gone through the tribunal, it's gone through the Court of Appeal, and they looked at these issues critically, to further test the veracity of what they have said or argued about. It came to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, being the apex court, deliberated on it. A 7-man panel deliberated on it and came out and said, look, the Court of Appeal and the tribunals have actually done a good job.
All right, Vera Chumba, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Moving on. Conspiracy of silence and high-level compromise have been highlighted by guests on Good Morning Nigeria as the major bane responsible for the current pipeline vandalism and explosions in the country. An effective collaboration between concerned parties in the oil and gas sector cited as key to stemming the rise in pipeline vandalism. Daniel Aderi reports.
These key players in the oil and gas sector insist that there is need for infusion of technology into the process of policing and protecting oil pipelines.
When there are infractions on the pipeline, there must be a way of knowing that this has happened. there are technological applications that will allow you to fix things on the pipeline itself, or apply drones and other UAVs to tell you what is going on. And then the third thing that you have to do is a rapid response.
It is pertinent to note that all hands are on deck in Lagos State under the watch of Mr. Governor. We will still continue carrying out sensitization and advocacy while our ministries that are involved in ensuring the protections of the right of way of this pipeline are working with the federal government's agency.
Some of the guests, however, called for a quick and prompt prosecution of all pipeline vandals, which they say will serve as a deterrent to other individuals who may want to conceive or actualize such heinous ideas.
They are not faceless.
They've not been, no prosecution so far.
We just don't want to prosecute for the sake of prosecuting. We need to gather all the pieces. Like you say, they are becoming more sophisticated. We need to gather all the pieces of evidence and make sure that we have a watertight case before they are charged to court.
Whenever these vandals are arrested, they should be handed over to us so that we can do due diligence and prosecute them appropriately. Because deterrence is the key. Because if people know, if these criminals know that when they are caught, they will be kept away for a very long time, in fact for a lifetime, the incidence of vandalism will reduce drastically.
The guests advised members of the public to always report suspected persons or movements to relevant security agencies and more for better liaison between security agencies. They all agreed that better synergy is required to help curb the current rate of pipeline vandalism, which is responsible for the loss of several lives and property. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
Let's now move to science and technology. The federal government has formally presented the national policy on methanol fuel production technology policy, expected to launch Nigeria as a methanol manufacturing country. Steve Lona Nwakulu reports on the presentation by the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbunaya Ono, in Umuahia.
Executive Council on October 23, 2019 approved the national policy on methanol fuel production for biodiesel and other fuels made from natural gas, biomass and other sources, primarily for automotive, thermal and power generation. Nigeria is rated as the ninth in the world with proven natural gas reserves amounting to 199.09 trillion cubic feet, most of which is wasted through flaring in the Niger Delta region. While government revenue up to 75% comes from crude oil, which is not stable, the adoption of methanol fuel at this point in time therefore becomes imperative.
For too long, our nation allowed our economy to rely almost entirely on commodities. Initially, we relied on agricultural products, then later, petroleum products, that is, crude oil and natural gas. Any nation that has no innovation, no creativity, no technology, there is no future.
The government of Abuja State will sincerely and diligently follow and ensure the successful implementation of the national policy.
The southeast of Nigeria, known for technological ingenuity, is in the lead of driving this technology, while cross-cutting issues of technological transfer to fully implement the project and industry financing framework are being worked out. In Umuahia, Steve Lona Nwakulu, NTA News.
As part of efforts to engender economic activities in Ondo State, the Niger Delta Development Commission says work will soon commence on Araromi, Ilaje, Lagos Road to link Niger Delta coastal communities in Lagos State. The Minister of State for Niger Delta Affairs, Tayo Alashwadura, said this when he paid a courtesy call on Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State.
The Minister of State for Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Tayo Alashwadura, explained that the visit was informed by the need to take stock of over 12,000 abandoned projects embarked upon by the NDDC, saying the Commission will not initiate new contracts until the abandoned ones are executed.
Mr. President agreed with us that we should go for what we call legacy projects. And what I have chosen as the number one
legacy project of Ondo State is that link road. And one other thing that I've discussed with our representative at the National Assembly is that we are going to take the road off Osokade and give it straight to NDDC.
The minister appreciated the governor for supporting the commission in actualizing its mandates. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu expressed support for the ongoing forensic audit of the NDDC, commended the efforts at revisiting abandoned projects of the commission in the state.
Of the skill acquisition center, we want to thank you. The limited space for now and fund that Polytechnic has, this skill acquisition center will be an advantage for them.
The minister was in Ondo State to assess various abandoned projects of the Niger Delta Development Commission in the state. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
You're watching the Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Time now to link up with Dotun Ogunyemi in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Dotun.
Hello, Elizabeth, and thank you for joining us in Lagos, where we begin with not-so-cheering news that while residents of Abuja are still gathering the pieces left behind by the pipeline explosion that claimed 5 lives and left many homeless, traders at the scrap metal section of the popular Alabarago market in Ojo local government are counting their losses following a fire incident caused by a tanker which fell and discharged its content. Jeston Moses reports.
Young Shade was one of the victims of the fire incident.
Everything all over, nobody see anything carry, nobody. Nothing. Nobody see anything, not see. All Alaba, fire.
The fire, according to eyewitnesses, was allegedly caused by the carelessness of the tanker driver who threw caution to the wind while discharging kerosene to the customer. The hose used in discharging the product to the customer, they noted, disconnected from the tanker. The driver, in his attempt to fix back the hose, failed to switch off the generating set, which eventually sparked into flame as kerosene splashed on it.
No green up the engine. They say make up the engine. There's one woman where they sell ayaba here. They say make up the engine and let the hose join the diesel. In no green, in no here.
The raised scrap metals are, however, being evacuated, and traders are ready to get back to their businesses as efforts are ongoing to erect temporary structures in place of the 8 affected shops. The traders are grateful that no life was lost to the incident. In Lagos, Jesuito Moses, NTA News.
Despite expectations that the Lagos-Ibadan Railway project will be completed by April this year, Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi says this might not be visible. The minister stated this during his routine monthly inspection of the project. Despite the work done so far at the train stations, as well as lane of tracks along a significant portion of the 157-kilometer standard gauge rail line, construction of bridges and tunnels, the desire to see this 1.5 billion naira project completed by April might not be possible.
They believe that by April they will be ready. I don't know if that will be true or not. Let's wait and see.
This, the minister attributes to a few delays in getting some of the equipment to work.
The fact that administratively they are not able to berth the equipment that they need to complete this. The glasses, the doors, the windows, everything that they've imported are still not even in the seaport, but waiting to berth. And they're not able to berth because it's not yet their turn. So we're going to have a meeting with MPA to resolve all that.
I've seen, the level of commitment that the Honourable Minister and his team have put onto this, and I also am able to visualize that in a few months, this is going to change the economy of Oyo State in particular. It's going to change it significantly.
clearly unsatisfied with this reality. Tasking the contractors and ironing grey areas are a priority for the federal government. The federal government has reiterated its determination to use the maritime sector to spur economic transformation. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, who stated this in Lagos, explained that the ease of doing business policy is one of the initiatives aimed at unlocking the untapped opportunities in the sector.
Force operations is one of the 5 major components of the ease of doing business. Harmonizing the operations of the agencies at the port into single interface units, 24 hours operations and removal of touting are some of the measures strategically mapped out to achieve these mandates. Secretary to the Government of the Federation believes the implementation of this policy has led to the introduction of measures like the final billing system, 24 hours issuance of sailing clearance, and the cabotage waiver regime plans, which in turn are imparting on efficient service delivery by terminal operators, prompt fulfillment of financial obligation, and improved turnaround.
Nigeria has improved in the World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index by 39 places, and our goal is to get to be among the first 70. With initiatives like what we are about to witness, I have no doubt in my mind that we would achieve this target.
The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency noted that the number of vessels flying Nigerian flag have increased from 94 in 2018 to 125 in 2019, an evidence that the policy is working.
We are determined to change the narrative in the industry and give every Nigerian opportunity to optimize the benefits that the maritime industry offers.
The prompt implementation of the National Single Window Platform is one area business operators along the Apapa corridor are optimistic will save the country more than 2.5 trillion naira in revenue being lost to inadequate infrastructure annually. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NT News.
An out-and contribution from Lagos Nationwide continues after the break. Please stay with us.
This year, the weather conditions Harmattan in Nigeria is harsh, with temperature dropping very low in some parts of the country. Many underprivileged children are exposed to these harsh weather conditions, putting them at risk to all sorts of respiratory infections with devastating consequences. We request well-meaning Nigerians to kindly donate warm clothing, blankets, beverages, soap, moisturizers, and other essential items for the benefit of these children. Get involved to support displaced and underprivileged children exposed to these harsh weather conditions. Powered by Aisha Buhari Foundation.
On Tuesday Live this week, the challenges and prospect of vehicle currency and derivable gains of the 2019 finance law is our focus. Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m. promises to be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down. Do you have a job where you're going to?
No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad or even end up in prison.
Are you a business owner
struggling to find your way, Smithan is the answer. The Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria is here to help you succeed and gives you entrepreneurship training that will make your business grow big. It can create access to finance. Smithan can help you prepare a good feasibility study and link you up with the finance institutions that will fund your business. It can also create access to market through local and international trade fairs, opportunity fairs, and exhibitions. Smithan also organizes programs to identify innovative entrepreneurs and promote their business ideas. For further information, contact us at Plot 35, Port Harcourt Crescent, Area 11, Garaki, Abuja, or visit our website www.smithan.gov.ng or any of our state offices in the 36 states of the Federation.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's talk security. Following incessant attacks and kidnappings along Maiduguri-Damaturu Road, the theatre commander, Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Olusegun Gabriel Adeni, says the highway is now safe as the military has re-strategized and intensified patrols to deal decisively with Boko Haram terrorists on the road. The theatre commander says there will be no more checkpoints along the route, but strong mobile operation teams. Maimuna Garba reports.
The growing fear and tension due to insecurity on the highway necessitated the theatre commander to call for the press conference, considering the importance of the road to Borno State, as it is so far the only safe exit and entry point, as well as linked to other parts of the country. Major General Olusegun Adeni said the resurgence of activities of terrorists on the highway was as a result of failure by the terrorists to achieve their goal of establishing a caliphate, thereby had to transform from terrorist to a marauding band of criminals, stressing that the military has degraded the Boko Haram terrorists, which made them resort to attacking soft targets.
I want to assure every Nigerian not to fear Boko Haram. Maiduguri Damaturu Road is very safe.
General Adeni further announced that there will be no checkpoints from Jimtulo to Kukareta, stressing that military has intensified clearance and long-range patrols with heavy military presence, among others.
And no vehicle should stop for them. The time for opening, which is 8 o'clock, will continue to remain. And then the present timing of closing that road by 6 o'clock will remain.
The theatre commander further assured Nigerians of the military's commitment to rescue those abducted by the terrorists in Maiduguri. Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Away from security, draws for the second round of 2020 FIFA World Cup African qualifiers currently holding in Cairo, Egypt. Joining us live via Skype from Cairo, Egypt is NFF Secretary General Dr. Sanusi Mohammed. Good to have you, Dr. Mohammed. All right, Dr. Mohammed, when is the draw taking place?
The reception will start by 6 o'clock and the vote will be conducted by 7 p.m.
All right, so how many teams are taking part and how many groups are we expecting?
There are a group of 40 groups and 40 teams, that are going to take part in this draw.
All right, so is Nigeria among the seeded teams?
Yeah, Nigeria is seeded alongside Senegal, Algeria, and of course, Nigeria is one of the teams that have been seeded, as I said.
So are you optimistic that Nigeria will qualify for Qatar 2022?
We are very optimistic Nigeria will qualify. As I have always been saying, Nigeria has respect for all the 40 teams that are taking part in the draw. But Nigeria is not afraid of any team. The players themselves have said so, and we remain committed making sure that we make Nigeria proud. Football is 11 versus 11, and we are very much aware of that. What we just need is players from Nigerians so that any group we find ourselves, we should be able to excel.
All right, Dr. Sanusi, this is the much I can take from you right now. We need you to frame up yourself properly. We'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay, we can see you clearly now. It's clearer now. All right, we'll get back to him later. Moving on, Akwa Ibom and Cross River states have chosen a location for the siting of military base as a step to end the age-long boundary disputes between warring communities of the two states. This choice was made known at a joint field boundary tracing meeting of representatives of Akwa Ibom and Cross River states.
The boundary dispute between Okwiboku in Akwa Ibom State and Ikorofyong in Cross River State is an age-long crisis that has led to destruction of lives and property, although the federal government does not relent at ensuring that lasting peace return to the area. Sequel to this, a joint field boundary tracing meeting led by the National Boundary Commission was held to enable the state make their choice of location for siting of military base for quick response that will restore peace for proper boundary demarcation between Akwa Ibom and Cross River States.
Decisions taken will be communicated to National Boundary Commission.
Problem or the theater of war, unquote, is between the two bridgehead and the Opokom Bridge.
Our first location of choice is the ruins of Ikorofyong.
Delegations from both Akwa Ibom and Cross River States were of the opinion that the military-based siting should be done without sentiment to enable lasting peace in the communities.
The creation of the two states was only for administrative convenience. It wasn't so that we can start fighting and killing ourselves.
Meanwhile, the military, in collaboration with the National Boundary Commission, have the final decision on the location for siting of the military base. In Uyo, Charity James, NTA News.
And Zulay is standing by in our Kaduna studio for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Zulay.
Elizabeth, and welcome to Kaduna. Troops of the Nigerian Navy School of Armament Technology, Kachia, Kaduna, have rescued more than 20 kidnapped victims and 9 of their abductors. Suleiman Abdullahi Gachkum reports.
It has been a 4-month hide-and-seek struggle between the 9 suspected kidnappers and operatives of the Nigerian Navy School of Armament Technology, Kachia. Continuous surveillance and tactical operations by the troops led to the rescue of 28 victims, including Fatima Abdullahi and Peter Zamani, from the abductors.
We were kidnapped on the highway. I spent 3 days in captivity.
They kidnapped us in the midnight. They didn't do anything to me, but the trauma is severe.
Commandant of the school, Rear Admiral Tanko Yakubu Pani, acknowledged the successful arrest of the suspected kidnappers and rescue of the victims, describing it as a warning to all criminal elements operating within Kachia and other parts of Kaduna State.
We want to assure Nigerians that the Nigerian Navy continue to do her best in collaboration with other security agencies to protect lives and properties of citizens of this nation. However, we appeal to members of the public and community leaders to assist with credible information about the disposition of criminals.
The arrested suspects have been handed over to Department of State Services for further investigation and prosecution. From Kachia, I am Suleiman Abdullahi, NTA News.
And talking about the legacies of Sardauna exploiting the agricultural comparative advantages of the northern part of Nigeria towards reshaping its destiny of its people was the focus of the 2020 lecture series of Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation held in Kaduna. Major Ma Adamu reports.
With a population predicted to double by the year 2050 and agriculture the driving force of the economy still practiced at subsistence level by over 90% of the farming populace, the imminent socio-economic crisis this portends prompted the annual lecture series of the Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation to look at ways of enhancing the agricultural competitiveness of the region.
Enhancing multiplier effect of agriculture
agricultural practices is the focus of this conference, and the surest way to the attainment of this objective, according to a foremost Nigerian farmer and the key speaker at this occasion, Admiral Mutara Inyako, is radical departure from the ignorance-induced mode of practices that brings inefficiency and failures in the system.
We cannot go by a regimental approach to it and expect progress. So we have to organize.
His lecture entitled Integrated Agriculture for Food Security and Sustainable Economic Regeneration of Northern Nigeria focused on the imperative and technicalities of paradigm shift to global best practices for agricultural business.
I'm glad that we are reawakening and then reminding the need to give prominence to the agriculture, to provide all it takes in terms of the value chain so that the farmers can benefit from their sweat.
We need to have an approach of commercial farming, and people cannot jump from subsistence to commercial unless they know the road very well.
There is consensus among participants on workability of anticipated blueprint arising from the conference through collaborative efforts of stakeholders along the production value chain. Majama Adamu, NTA News.
And giving back to society, an anonymous individual has made a difference in the lives of 400 Almajiri orphans in Kaduna. Abdullahi Muhammad was at the Yahya Road Mosque where the Almajiris and orphans took turn to receive winter jackets which put a smile on their face.
With temperatures dropping, the weather getting chilled by the day, everyone seems to have reached out to the warmers. But there are children like Audi Ibrahim who circumstance has thrown to the streets and must navigate through the chill weather with little or no protection to make ends meet. They are the most vulnerable and the ones attracting interest from some Nigerians who are well-to-do. One of such individuals donated in trust to the Yahya Road Masjid Committee 400 jackets for the children. These the committee took the pains to distribute with utmost honesty. Buhari Ibrahim is 9 years old, and the looks on his face tells how he feels to have a jacket when he needed it most.
The weather is quite unfriendly. It forces me to wear more than one jacket.
The Masjid Committee says it has been handling the distribution of donations to the needy for ages with commendations.
We have been trusted by many people who donate and we distribute.
Now, Buhari and 300 and Almajiris will face the weather with confidence. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
And that's our bit from here. It's back to Elizabeth in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Sulay. Moving on, the vigilance of the combined crack operatives and detectives from the IGP Special Tactical Squad Intelligence Response Team and the Anti-Terrorism Unit of the Niger Police have led to the arrest of 60 high-profile criminals. Francis Firm reports that they were paraded at the Qatari Police Divisional Headquarters, Kaduna State.
Lying lonely along the Abuja-Kaduna Highway, Qatari village became notorious as men of the underworld turned this once peaceful settlement to an operational base, a development that attracted the attention of the police with the establishment of Operation Puff Adder, leading to the arrest of these different gangs of suspects.
We are passionate and resolute in this regard, and we continue to work even at the risk of our own lives, to ensure that your lives and the lives of other Nigerians, including their property, are safe.
19-year-old Saidu Adamu is Suleiman's gang leader. They planned to kidnap the current chairman of Rafi local government, Kagara, in Niger State. But the timely intervention of the police crack operatives led to the abortion of the unholy plan. This Bajaj motorcycle is mostly used for transportation, but 45-year-old Haruna Saidu has designed a chamber beneath the seat, which acts as a concealment chamber for moving weapons from one part of the country to the other.
He's conveying rifles for one shaibu from Kasina
to Niger before he was arrested.
This weapon was smuggled into Nigeria from Libya.
31 assorted weapons were recovered, 10 of which are AK-47, 9 are AK-49 rifles, 365 live cartridges, as well as 469 live ammunition were recovered from the suspects. Francis Form, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. Time now to link up with Jenny in our Port Harcourt studio for more reports. Hello, Jenny.
Elizabeth, hello and welcome to Port Harcourt. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has established an education trust fund of 90 million naira for 9 pupils of basic education schools who emerged victorious in various national educational competition between 2015 and 2019. We're getting Yekwere reports on these and other activities of the governor.
The special reception was in honor of the pupils of the Universal Basic Education Schools who represented the state at national competitions and won awards. The awards were the National Literacy Competition, National Quiz Competition on Water and Hygiene, National Mathematics Competition, Science, Creative Writing and Computer Science.
We will give them scholarship for making us proud. We open an account through their parents for each and every one of them. We'll give each of them 10 million naira.
Chairman of Rivers State Universal Basic Education Board, Venerable Fineface Aka said the investment of the governor on rural schools led to the emergence of the outstanding pupils from schools in the hinterland.
As a board, we had worked along that path, developing rural school infrastructure and also extending academic services to rural areas.
The governor also played host to the president of Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, Dr. Francis Fadoyile, represented by his vice president, Ofam Enang, who informed him of the forthcoming 5th Medical Doctors' Games in the state, built for 18th and 23rd of February. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA News.
And now to infrastructure. Work is now at substructure stage at Garrison Flyover Bridge construction site in Port Harcourt. This project, embarked upon by the state government, is to decongest traffic in major roads in the city. Ijoma Ugweke has a situation report.
Infrastructure development is a cardinal responsibility of any meaningful government. Good road network also contributes to economic growth of a state and country. Following the traffic congestion experienced by motorists and other road users along major roads in Port Harcourt, the state government took up the challenge to open up major roads to ease movements of goods and services with construction of additional 3 flyovers.
It's not mindful of this hardship, and some temporary routes are being created to divert traffic, also to cushion the effect of the traffic jam that people are experiencing now.
I alighted and trek cross before I will still pay another money to where I'm going. For me, I know it's just for the main time.
It's a welcome development, although it's somehow stressful for us that are, the people walking around the place. But I know with time here will be a very beautiful place and it will be more motorable.
Site supervisor Samuel Edward, who spoke off camera, said the project has entered into the substructure stage, which entails raising of column and filling the base in preparation for crossing of the beams for the flyover bridge. While appealing to road users to use road diversions, he said the blockage of the road is to pave the way for speedy construction. The project is expected to be completed within 18 months. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Economic activities and vehicular movement were disrupted for hours at the popular Ikoku spare part market on Ikwere Road. This is sequel to the protest by the artisans and traders who are demanding justice for the alleged torture and murdered mechanic Chima Ikunando by operatives of Eagle Crag Wing of Nigerian Police, Malwan Diop. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
The protesters blocked all the major entrances to the Ikoku spare parts market. The
demanding justice for their deceased colleague.
What they are asking for is justice for Chima, who was allegedly killed by the Nigerian police authorities, and the other 4 artisans.
Crack, carry them because of one-way drive, where they drive for a jeep. We begin run around for police station. When we carry food, go give them. Police people go eat food. Collect 1,000 from our hand. They don't go carry that food, give them.
The owner of the car the late Chima was driving before he was arrested for alleged traffic offense said the late Chima was his mechanic for over 4 years.
The cars that they've released to the owners and they've verified that the cars were not stolen, the owners never complained that the cars were stolen. They put that on the charge sheet.
Another brother to the deceased alleged foul play on the police autopsy report.
Let them bring the cops. There's so many doctors. They will check, do the autopsy, this thing. They broke that boy's leg, broke all his bone everywhere. The very day that boy died, those boys inside the cell was the one that carried Chima, my younger one, and put inside the vehicle for them, then drove out.
When NTA News contacted the State Police Public Relations Officer, Nnamdi Omoni, for comments, he declined, saying he was indisposed on health grounds. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
And that's our offering from Port Harcourt. Nationwide continues after the break.
My name is Giato Adeza Adams, the General Manager, Corporate and Strategic Communications, Nigerian Port Authority. As regards the land borders closure, available statistical data from APMT, which is one of our terminal operators that is involved in container handling terminal, has recorded an increase of 200 TEUs of cargoes into their terminal as a result of cargo diversion from the vessels originally meant for neighboring countries. That shows you that the terminal operators is going to have an increase in revenue, which is accrued to the terminal, and at the same time, Nigerian Port Authority will equally benefit from the revenue increase. So that is the benefit we have derived from the border closure.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA. Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first, get it fresh.
Glad to know you're still there. To education, the recent move by the National Universities Commission to unbundle mass communication to 7 different departments in the Nigerian universities has been described as a strategy that would propagate competent and professional journalists in Nigeria. Yohana Hassan Barat reports that experts in the communication sector also believe that the initiative, when sustained, will promote the profession to compete globally.
The emerging concept of the communication world was what makes stakeholders in the sector to come up with new circular that will suit the global competitiveness in producing journalists with competency and know-how in the profession. Professor Umar Pate is one of the scholars who are brain behind the unbundling of mass communication in Nigerian universities.
Even in the advertising industry, you could see that the existing funding model, particularly in contexts like Nigeria, of relying on advertising revenue, relying on government subvention, relying on sales or subscription, these ways can no longer give the media the required resources for them to be able to function well.
The 7 different departments created are to offer specialized courses in public relations, advertising, cinematography, broadcasting, film and multimedia studies, development communication studies, and information and media studies, which all depends on the availability of facilities in the university that is willing to offer the courses.
Structure of our curriculum for mass communication, it has been dormant for almost 3 decades.
And like before, when you graduate a student, you are expecting him to be an expert in PR, in advertising, in print media.
As it is now unbundled, if you specialize, you find out that you'll be a better graduate because you have a mastery of whatever course that you studied.
Bayero University Kano is ready to set the ball rolling with the state-of-the-art facility of this studio. This is one out of the 3 studios in this faculty. It is ready to take off by February 2020. Though the unbundling will not affect those that are currently running program, but it will take effect in 2020. In Kano, Yahana Sahasambaro, NTA News.
Thank you, Yahana, sir. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA, and Zenred in Jos has the next set of reports for us on Nationwide. Hello, Zenred.
Beth, and welcome to Jos. Residents of Jos have continued to react to the Supreme Court's judgment on Monday. Mary Domto sampled opinions of some citizens on the court verdict. Let's join Mary in town.
The Supreme Court upheld the election of Governor Simon Bako Lalong. What do you have to say about this victory?
Well, for me, it's something that is here to stay, and whether we like it or not, it has been declared so. For what I have to say right now is, we as citizens of Plateau State, we have to accept this and then keep praying for the government that the right thing will be done.
Lalong has been trying his possible best in this plateau. I personally appreciate him.
Well, the victory is for everyone in Plateau State, including the PDP. But Lalong, being who he is a very unique person. And I'm sure it will just be like what General Gowan said during the Civil War. There's no loser.
The victory is well deserved, and it affirms the belief and expectations of Plateau people.
With the victory of the governor at the apex courts, this party stalwarts say the governor should focus on the issue of governance in Plateau State.
There's a lot of work in Plateau State in the face of dwindling revenue. So there is need to wear his thinking cap again, look inwards. We have to find a way of going to solid minerals. I think there is a large reservoir of solid minerals in Plateau State.
By this judgment, we'll be able to settle down and carry on with the developmental strides he has put in place with much greater vigor and speed.
The mood in town is generally calm as people are seen going about their normal activities. It's back to the studio.
Thank you, Mary. A group known as Coalition of Internally Displaced Persons from Jos South, Birkin-Ladi and Riom local government areas of Plateau State has organized a prayer to commemorate 10 years after the Jos crisis of 2010. Caleb Gochin reports that the prayer was held at the Central Mosque, Bukuru.
The event commenced with supplications to Allah for seeing them through the challenges since the encounter, which left many lives lost and property destroyed. They described as unfortunate the incident, but are grateful that peace is now being restored fully in the state.
The people that are being displaced, they are now in various states of the Federation, and hoping that with the kind of peace that we are enjoying, courtesy the state governor, we will be very glad and grateful to the government to look at the situation of these displaced people.
It is the wish of the group that the peace being enjoyed is sustained and the needs of those displaced from their abode are met by the relevant authorities.
We are having so many widows and orphans now that we need government to come to their aid.
The prayer led by Chief Imam of Bukru is the first to be held by the group. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
There are indications that citizens of Jos are becoming more aware about the benefits of the National Identity Number, NIN, as National Identity Management Registration Centers in the state continue to witness high turnout of people. Ruth Stephen Hoke reports.
2 weeks after the suspension of the mandatory National Identification Number registration for prospective JAMB candidates for the 2019-2020 UTME examination, residents of Jos have continued to avail themselves for the registration. Considering the importance of acquiring the National Identification Number, NIN, they say the process is worth the while.
I have already done my own my registration, and I came here so that they will bring it for me.
It's fine, and it's moving well.
There are a lot of people around here, but it's still going on.
State Coordinator, National Identification Management Commission says the importance of the National Identification Number, NIN, is encompassing as it covers areas such as health, travels, and also serve as bank ATM. He expressed delight with the turnout of people on daily basis.
We have to find a way of knowing who we are, and with that we can be able to have a good planning.
He urged other stakeholders to key in as National Identification Number serves to identify citizenship of individuals. In Jos, Ruth Stephen Hoke, NTA News.
That's it from Jos. It's back to Elizabeth in Abuja for more news on Nationwide.
Thank you, Senret. Now to meteorological matters. No imminent dangers associated with flooding is anticipated this year, going by the 2020 seasonal rainfall prediction released by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET. Onenge Finefest reports, however, that heavy intensity rainfall and dry spell are to be expected.
NIMET's rainfall prediction for 2020 indicates a near normal to earlier than normal growing season, with earliest onset likely to occur on 24th February in coastal cities of the South-South, while northern cities like Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, Jigawa, Yobe and Borno states will have onset from 2nd June. Earliest cessation date of around 26 September is expected around Katsina and Sokoto states, while latest cessation date of 28 December is expected in the Niger Delta region. The length of growing season for 2020 is expected to range from 110 to 160 days in the Sahelian region of the north and 210 to 280 days in the south. The amount of rainfall will range from 400 millimeters in the north to about 3,000 millimeters in the south. Dry spell is expected in the months of June and July to last from 10 to 21 days in some states of the north. Farmers are advised to avoid early planting due to false start, which is predicted to have greater frequency. They are also advised to adopt moisture conservation techniques to avoid losses during the dry season.
To address the challenges of extreme weather events and climate change, NIMET predicts and publishes the expected annual rainfall pattern over the entire country in pursuance of its mandate of advising government and the general public on all aspects of weather and climate-related matters.
Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET's prediction for 2020 also covers temperature forecasts and implications of the outlook on agriculture, water resources management, power generation and distribution, health, transportation, aviation, and climate conditions. In Abuja, Onengiye Fineface, NC News.
Thank you so much, Onenge. Now to sports. NTA set to beam live the Qatar 2020 World Cup Africa qualifying draws this evening at 5:30 p.m. Kene Imagudike brings us details on sports updates.
Nigeria's under-19 men national cricket team have resolved to bounce back to contention when they take on West Indies Thursday in their second game at the ICC World Cup in Kimberley, South Africa. The team, which is making a debut appearance at the World Cup, lost by 10 wickets to Australia in their opening game on Monday. About 150 participants from the 5 units of the Nigerian Army Guards Brigade are competing in 14 sporting events at 8th Annual Sports Week at the Aguye Ironsi Cantonment, Abuja. Commander, Guards Brigade, Brigadier General Mohammed Usman says the week is an avenue to provide physical fitness and mental alertness for officers and men after hoisting the game's flag, lighting of the torch, and taking the kickoff of the football match.
It is also a platform where talented as well as potential sportsmen and women of the brigade will be discovered.
The opening match between 177 Guards Battalion in green and Guards Brigade Garrison in peach ended 2-2. In tennis, former world #1 Maria Sharapova faces the risk of dropping out of the world's top 350 following her 6-3, 6-4